What is up, guys? Welcome to Diggity, a video game podcast, episode number 144. I'm Jeff James, as always, with me, the incredible, unobtainable, luscious Brody Fultz. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing so well.
I think I'm starting to get sick. I'm starting to get a sore throat, like I'm getting drainage and stuff while I'm sleeping. I'm not liking it. I'm not excited. So we need to hang out.
Are you actually starting to sick, or is that a joke?
I think so. No, I really do think I am. I'm like, yeah. So if I sound a little more nasally than normal, I think that's what's going on.
Well, you probably won't sound as shitty as I did in that hotel.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Boy, my eyes were tearing listening to it. It was really bad, dude. It was not great. It was not great at all. Not at all. Guys, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Diggity, Diggity. Tell your friends about our podcast. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Anchor, wherever good podcasts are held. We're there because, hey, we're pretty good. So spread the word with your friends and family about us. And thank you to those who have. Also, join our Patreon, patreon.com/Diggity Podcast. With all of the necessary intro material done, what have you been playing?
I have been playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions still. I'm slowly working my way through it. I'll get there eventually, but yeah, been playing Arknights, which is a mobile game. I don't remember if I got to talk about this on here yet or not, but I think I did. It seems decent. Seems decent so far for a mobile game, and it's got the whole gacha system and all that stuff, but it's not bad. I kind of enjoyed it. It's like a tower defense type game. I've been playing Modern Warfare a little bit, and actually played quite a bit of Rocket League last night, trying to catch up on challenges and stuff. Finally made it all the way through the season, or for the Rocket Pass this season. So
that's good.
Just hit that last night. Got a few more challenges to finish up, so I'll probably play a little bit more maybe tonight. Not sure, but how about you?
Been playing the game of life, dude.
Yeah.
I've been I want to get back into more stuff this week, which is nice. Get back into some gaming. It's been tough with traveling, and then right when we came back, we found a house, and so I guess I'm a homeowner now. So technically speaking, I guess I get possession of it later on. But I'm furthermore just giving more taxes to the government. Well, maybe not, because actually it's prorated because it's a new house, so I don't have to wait, because all the taxes are in arrears, which is aptly named if you're paying income tax, but or not income tax, property tax. But so just been trying to get all the paperwork done and all the crazy shit going on and stuff. It's crazy to buy a house now, man, because obviously it's my first home buying. What everyone I've talked to is because of like Zillow and everything like that. It's so much easier to find these houses. It's so much easier to put an offer in on them. Like, we had seen a couple houses and we walk into it and they'd be like, yeah, there's 4 offers on it already. And it's like, okay, great. Like, we're out. Right. So, but yeah, it is interesting. So at least, happy we got it done. But yeah,
I miss that process. And what's even worse is selling a house. I do not miss that at all. I will die in this house. I don't care. I don't want to move again.
I will die in this house.
I did not enjoy that at all.
Yeah, I know. Especially it's worse too if for people who are probably in like a financial situation where you could like hold on to 2 homes at one time, it's probably easy. But when you have to sell one and you're gonna take a hit if you don't, it's
trying to line that up. It's very, very stressful.
Ugh. All right. Well, anyways, you want to move on with Diggity Deals before we get into it?
For Nintendo Switch, you can get Yoku's Island Express for $6.79 on the US eShop, which is a fantastic game. Definitely worth checking out. On Xbox One, you can get the Crash Plus Spyro Triple Play Bundle, which includes Crash Team Racing, Crash Insane Trilogy, and Spyro Reignited for $60 on the Xbox Store. It does require a gold subscription, and this is normally like $99. So this is a really good deal. On PlayStation 4, you can get Devil May Cry 5 for $19.99 at Best Buy. And on PC, you can get Street Fighter 5 for $8 on Steam.
Wow. Those are all good deals.
Yeah.
Damn. That's pretty cool.
I was really impressed with the Crash and Spyro triple.
Yeah,
bundle.
I mean,
Like, that's a
essentially, because
steal.
those games are normally what, like $30 retail.
Yeah, give or take.
You're getting one for free, pretty much.
Yeah,
Plus
it's
a
good.
little bit. Yeah,
It's a
that's
good
cool.
little dive into nostalgia for sure.
Yeah, sweet. There's some new Xbox Game Pass games coming. So starting February 6th, you'll have Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition coming to Game Pass, as well as Wolfenstein Youngblood. And then on February 13th, Death Squared, I believe, comes back to Game Pass.
Yeah, I think it was on originally and left for a while and then is coming back. But today, the recording of this, if you're watching us on YouTube, is February 6th. So that is available now. The Final Fantasy and Wolfenstein Youngblood. So I'm excited about this. This is
holy shit. I've thought it's been the 5th this entire time.
I figured that's why I mentioned it, but I'm excited about this. I think this is the first of the list of Final Fantasy games that are coming to Game Pass. I believe I tried this game out and wasn't sure about it and couldn't completely get into it, but I think I'm gonna give it another go and kind of try to play it. I don't know. It was a little different. There's a whole lot of corniness going on in it, as you would expect, but it was all right. The gameplay was kind of cool, but yeah, good stuff, man.
Coolio.
Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package. There's no better time to get into the Kingdom Hearts franchise if you've been on the fence. But this is basically an all-in-one package that includes Kingdom Hearts, the story so far, and Kingdom Hearts 3. The bundle will only be coming to the PlayStation 4, and it will cost $50 and will launch on March 17th. So that's a thing.
Hey, Evo has revealed the lineup for 2020. Dragon Ball Fighter Z coming to PS4. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus coming to PS4.
Yeah, what they'll be playing it on.
Well, yeah, they'll be playing on it. Sorry. Samurai Showdown PS4. Soul Calibur. Ready. 6.
You were stalling so you could figure it out.
yeah, PS4. Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition PS4. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Switch. Tekken 7 PS4. Under Night in Birth X Late. Weird. PS4. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Sega Dreamcast, baby.
Hell yeah.
Woo! The only real changes from last year are BlazBlue, Cross Tag Battle, and Mortal Kombat 11 are out this year. And Grand Blue Fantasy Versus and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 are in. So not that crazy changes, but something to see for the lineup.
Yeah, last year was the first year that they didn't have Super Smash Bros. Melee in there, actually. It had been a part of the show for like 6 years prior to that, and they switched over to Ultimate, which there were a lot of pissed off people about that, but I think it's gone over okay now because Ultimate is so well loved. But yeah, I don't personally really get into Evo all that much, but I know there's definitely obviously a target demographic for that people really get into it. So good stuff.
Cool.
So Xbox doesn't view Nintendo and PlayStation as the biggest competition anymore, which is interesting to say, but also makes sense. So in a recent interview with Protocol, Phil Spencer, P3 baby, essentially dismissed Sony and Nintendo's ability to compete in the realm of cloud gaming and said that going forward, Google and Amazon are going to be the main competition.
Ooh.
Not entirely shocked by that, but at first glance, if you just take it from the headline, it does sound kind of shitty.
It's totally shitty.
Yeah. When you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have tons of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward. This is a direct quote from Phil Spencer's interview with Protocol, by the way. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. So basically, I think this is
P3 putting the dick on the table, baby.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got his yardstick out and he's ready to measure that bad boy.
For Azure.
He's right though. I mean, in all honesty, going forward, we are going to get to the point where streaming is the main way people are going to be playing games, and Xbox has that infrastructure, whereas Nintendo and PlayStation do not. Now, I do see I think Nintendo will still be fine because it's Nintendo. But I think PlayStation is really going to have to push in order to get the streaming going, or they will fall behind at some point.
They'll probably have to pay.
Yeah,
To use Azure or
and it's going to be one of those
Amazon or
things.
Google.
Yeah, team up with Amazon or
I
Google or
mean,
whatever.
you know,
But
the Xbox uses Blu-rays right now, and every disc that gets made, Microsoft has to pay Sony.
right, yeah,
So it's nothing new.
It is, yeah, it is a little odd, but I do find it kind of interesting that they even mention Google because Stadia is not doing well. It has left a bad
but the
taste in a lot of
cloud
people. Right.
capabilities of Google is still there, I guess.
I
And
think honestly, I think Nvidia's even more competition in that realm. I think they are.
yeah.
But granted, it's still different. I mean,
It's
it's not
also a
quite
high
the same thing.
caliber, like performance PC gaming brand.
Right. Yeah.
And
So this
it
is
doesn't speak. I mean, I get like, I don't know, like Nvidia, the marketing behind that is going to have to be pretty interesting because they're gonna have to use their brand to go after people who would otherwise not want to buy a PC and buy their graphics cards,
right.
which then hinders and hurts their graphics card revenue. But then there's hardcore PC gamers that I guess will still buy them. But also, if you're
It's kind of splitting
play
the
all the
market a
games,
little bit, and it is a
yeah, I
little
mean, I think it's kind
interesting.
of like gonna squish themselves into a corner a little bit.
Right.
Honestly, you can do like a revenue stream swap eventually.
I've said it before, and I fully stand behind this, that I think while Xbox did obviously lose this generation by a lot, I really think that what they're doing to plan ahead for this next generation
Oh
is
yeah.
impressive, and it is very smart. I mean, they're playing the long game right now, and it is, right off the get-go. Yeah, I'm sure PlayStation is still going to sell more right off the bat, but I mean, Xbox isn't going to be relying on their console sales or anything like that. I mean, which most of the companies don't anyway, because they usually lose money on consoles anyway. But it's going to be one of those things where, like, yeah, they're going to be bringing in money from these services rather, and it's going to be. I'm excited to see it because I really think they've set up the next decade of gaming very well.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I mean, the money that they have behind them with obviously Microsoft is far superior to Sony. And then on top of that too, Xbox is a brand in total. It encompasses, like you said, the streaming, the console, as well as PC gaming now. So
right.
I mean, the sky's the limit for them. I think that they've been playing catch up for a long time, and now they've planned themselves a lot more than Sony. We could be wrong, right? I mean, Sony could come out of nowhere in May or June and announce all of their shit. And we could all just be blown away with all this crazy stuff. But in the past, Sony's never been really that great at like creating services, honestly. Like
right.
It's not that Microsoft has been great at it either, but Microsoft seems to have been able to take things from other services they've created and mash them together to create things or go buy shit. I mean, that's a big thing for Microsoft. I mean, they're so
pretty
large,
much unlimited capital. They can just go buy whatever they need.
It's like you're such a large company. Like, don't go make stuff. Just go fucking buy it.
Right.
I mean, I could see in a couple years, like, no, I don't know. I don't know if Sony would ever sell PlayStation, but I could see like Amazon or Google trying to pick it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or
Amazon's another one of those
ownership.
companies that could definitely buy a huge portion of PlayStation, and they wouldn't even really notice. It'd be like.
But here's the thing, also, right?
Change for them practically.
But also the point with PlayStation, the issue with that too is, what are you actually? Why would you want to buy them, right? Because if you're Amazon or you're Google, like look at Stadia for example, it works with all existing Google hardware infrastructure, so like a Chromecast, right? So in Amazon, you come up with an Amazon. We know they're going to come up with a streaming gaming platform. It's going to fucking happen. So Amazon makes that. I mean, it's just going to work with all of your Fire Stick stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why would you even bother buying PlayStation?
Right.
You're more looking at kind of the studios.
Yeah, at that point you'd be looking at getting those exclusives, the games that everybody is always hey, we've got the best games on PlayStation, and which is fair. I mean, I'll absolutely give them that. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing for Google is they need to handle Stadia better than what they have been. the way they've been mishandling it is what's causing it to fail. It's not the actual technical ability of the software. It seems to be working fine. It's just more so it's just been a train wreck and miscommunication after miscommunication. And so going forward, I think that's where Xbox has done the best is out of these three companies here, to where they're out in front of all of this stuff constantly. And they have like Major Nelson, which is always putting stuff out as far as news and things coming up, and P3 is always involved in the community as well, and is constantly posting on Twitter and constantly doing things that puts him in the limelight, and is really also keeping Xbox in the conversation, whether people are completely sold on Xbox or not. In a couple years, it's going to be a different story when it's now, hey, we cloud game. Everything is cloud gaming, and so now you're looking to make the choice of who do I go with for cloud gaming, and it's going to be. I mean, there will still be some of this conversation of who has the best exclusives, but at the same time, with that new service, it's also going to be who has the best service actually as well. So it'll be interesting. I'm really excited to see how all this shakes down. It's because to me, it's fascinating.
Bold prediction.
Yeah, go for it.
I think in a couple of years, Microsoft buys Nintendo.
Okay.
Like I'd say,
or
like
at least some sort of like a
3 or 4
decent
years
partnership of some sort. Yeah.
No, I think some sort of ownership. Yeah. I don't think it. I think. Well, something like that. That's you want a complete takeover. I mean, you don't want like a 20%. I think they buy them. I think they buy them in the next 5 years.
That's interesting. Just because Nintendo, I mean, hell, they've even been pretty shut off from third party for a long time as well. So they really very much like to do their own thing and kind of march to the beat of their own drum type of thing. So that'd be interesting.
Because I think if you buy them right, you can give them the right online platform. For their device. You can give them the right architecture in the background, the right servers with the Azure service and all that kind of stuff, and give them the cloud streaming. And you just let them keep doing their thing and making great content.
Right. Yeah. That'd be wild. Can you imagine playing Mario on your Xbox? Or
I don't think you would still. I think
it'd still be
segment the device
like
possibly
more the portable side.
I think you would see some stuff maybe come over, but I don't think you'd see like a Mario hit the Xbox. I think you'd see like maybe like a Fire Emblem or something like that. I think there'd be some characters that might have an okay crossover into another console, but like a Mario, I don't think you would see that. But yeah,
they do have a pretty good bromance going on right now between Xbox and Nintendo. I like it. I can dig it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Disney tried to buy it.
Yeah,
I was thinking about buying it. Right? I mean,
hopefully somebody buys them before Disney does. I'm sorry, but
I mean, Disney's gonna go out and buy a ton of shit.
Oh, I know.
It's gonna keep going, dude. It's gonna keep going. It's only gonna get worse. They're thinking about buying movie theaters now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, how long is it before they're just like, yeah, we own the U.S. now, like just all of it. We just bought the U.S. No big deal. I don't know. One nation under Walt Disney. God.
One nation under Goofy. Indivisible. Teamfight Tactics has a mobile update. So the beta for the League of Legends themed auto chess will begin over the next few weeks and will fully launch in March. Teamfight Tactics will be a cross-platform and all progress will be tied to your account, meaning your progress and inventories can be accessed wherever you choose to play at any given time. So that's pretty awesome. There will be a few differences between the mobile and PC versions of the game. The mobile version will be slightly more bare bones, only having social features, rank system, and progression pass at launch. More features will be added in the future. I'm sure that's from like a UI and user experience perspective. A lot of shit at one time on a phone just gets lost. The visual style in the mobile version may be slightly different in certain cases to make it easier to see on your phone. The mobile version will also have a dedicated items inventory panel to make it easier for touch controls. The champion shop can be opened and closed with a button. The shop will automatically pop open at the beginning of every round for you as well. And in-game chat will not be available on mobile at launch due to screen real estate. You can still express yourself through a dedicated little legendary emote menu, though. I wish that for the tablet they would, hopefully for like the iPad app or whatever, they could give you in-game chat. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. I imagine at some point they'll add more of that, but I think just for the initial launch, I think that's a smart idea to kind of keep that out of it and just focus on that, making sure the game is running properly and working well.
This leads me to a question. The phones need to get bigger in order for games to I mean, mobile games obviously succeed right now, but they are limited.
Right.
I mean, this shows so right here, right? The phones need to get bigger in order for games maybe to be taken more serious to a certain level on mobile.
I don't know. I don't think that's really necessarily the way to go either, because there is still the portability aspect of it. I mean, like I don't want to be,
like the iPhone Plus. You think that's okay?
Or like the Galaxy Notes even. Even then, like, they're not that much larger. They don't add that much more screen to it. Like, the older Galaxy Notes used to be massive. They were ridiculously large.
Like almost a DVD case.
Yeah, but now even now they've shrunk those down as well. They're just slightly bigger than the actual like Galaxy and things like that. So I don't think that's really the way to go either. I think it's more, I think mobile gaming will always be its own little thing. I just really don't think at any point it's going to cross into the like hardcore gamers are now playing on mobile or anything like that. I think it just has its own market and its own purpose behind it, which is fine. And it works well. It's just like, for me, like, Nintendo with their handheld consoles and even prior to the Switch, like your DS and stuff, I think it has its own way to exist and do well without having to be like trying to compete with other things, PC gaming or console gaming. So
I agree. I fully agree.
So Rod Ferguson is leaving the Coalition.
Say it ain't so.
Which is wild. Wild. So the official announcement tweet from the man himself, starting in March, I will join Blizzard to oversee the Diablo franchise. Leaving is bittersweet as I love our Gears family, the fans, and everyone at the Coalition and Xbox. Thank you. It has been an honor and a privilege to work with all of you. So Rod has been tied to the series since the beginning. I mean, he started with the original Gears of War that launched in 2006 while Epic Games still owned the IP. With his name on every single title in the franchise, it's kind of fair to wonder what's going to happen with Gears going forward because he has been such a staple of the franchise. But recently in an interview with GameIndustry.biz, Matt Booty says, we wish all the best for Rod. He has a huge amount of passion for the game and has shown a real devotion to the players in the community. Gears 5 represents a world-class studio that is at the peak of what they can produce. It was one of the biggest games we launched at Xbox Game Studios. We had 3 million players in the game during its opening weekend, so we're really happy with how that landed. It received Game of the Year nominations and accolades for some of its accessibility and diversity work that was in the game. All of that represents what the studio is capable of, the team that we built there, and some of the impact that Rod has had. As we go forward, the studio is going to continue working. We have a lot more coming up with Gears 5. We have new operations, content, and maps. We have new DLC plans. There's a bunch of things that we're going to be delivering for Gears 5 throughout 2020. And then coming up more immediately, we have the turn-based strategy game Gears Tactics, which is content complete. We are on track to get that shipped by the end of April. We are going out on a tour at the end of this month to give press a preview of the game. I feel really good about where the game is. While it is unfortunate that we're losing Rod, the timing makes sense from a production point of view as the game is already in place and the senior creative leads on it are wrapping up. Going forward, I deeply believe that one of the most valuable and important assets in the games industry are studios that have worked together and have shipped quality AAA games. Certainly, the Coalition is really a group of world-class talent. We are also very fortunate that the leadership team that we have up there consists of a lot of senior veterans. So we're in a stable situation, and it gives us the opportunity to go out there and find a new leader for the studio and really shape the future. So,
Cliffy B, baby.
Yeah, and he actually reached out on Twitter and was like, "Hey, offer still stands. I'll come and at least take part in like some of the creative decisions and stuff if you want. So we'll see. But which Cliffy B was obviously already involved with the Gears IP
He's a creator
back
of it,
in the
yeah.
beginning. Yeah, he was one of the originals as well. So this is interesting. Gears is kind of a weird IP in the way of it seems very much like a product of when it was created, you know, the mid 2000s in a way. But I think the more recent games like Gears 4 and Gears 5 have done a good job of trying to usher in kind of like this new generation and a lot of the people that are, you know, just now getting into these games. And I think it'll be fine without Rod. While I think Rod was such a vital part of what they did with the Gears franchise, I think they'll still be able to make excellent games. And, you know, like they said, or like Matt Booty said, you know, that they have a lot of senior veterans that are working on these games. While Rod was kind of the face of the company, he's not necessarily the only person that knows what he's doing there. And they've got a lot of good talent there. And
I think he also wants to just. I mean, I think he's a good face for the company, but I think his public speaking and stuff like that. I think he's just more the kind of guy that wants to be in the back doing like cool shit.
Yeah.
And not kind of the guy on stage and having to prep for shows and stuff like that. I think he wants more direction behind the game.
It's so interesting to me that he's going to work on Diablo. Like that's just a drastic change, which
it's probably one of his favorite series, probably, dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Mike Ibarra, through his tweets when he started, you know, moving over to
he went
Activision
to Blizzard as
Blizzard.
well.
Yeah, he you know, noted in it that, you know, he's been a massive fan, and you know, it's the fanboyism of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I don't know. I think now that you see Microsoft going to wanting to swallow up content in a lot of these other studios and going the streaming route and all that kind of stuff, I think a lot of these guys that have worked for Microsoft or for studios for a long time kind of want to go to the PC realm of side of stuff, or as close as possible to that, or studios where they feel like old video game studios still.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference in what a gaming company is now versus what it was even like 3 years ago with the abilities of streaming and whatnot. I mean, they built Gears 5 to be on Game Pass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And that was 100% of the plan, you know, a huge part of the plan from the get-go. And it shows in a way, because it is one of those games that I think probably would not have sold all that well all by itself. I think it would have sold fine, but it's not going to be breaking records or anything.
Yeah, it's been
like
exhausted a bit. Yeah.
So with it being able to show up on Game Pass and a lot more people be able to play it just because they're part of Game Pass, I mean, it works so well for a franchise like Gears, where it really appeals more to, you know, diehard fans from the early or mid 2000s, I guess, and that have kind of grown up with this series. Like for me, I love it because I did grow up playing Gears. I played all of them. I bought most of them on release day and stayed up all night or whatever to play them. So it is a series that I really love, but yeah, it's definitely different. Approaching a Gears game is not the same as how it felt back then. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if Cliffy B coming back, whatever, would he be able to give it its old vibe back? Because we played the old Gears, and the old Gears to us is kind of like,
yeah,
it's a little clunky.
Again, and I mean, it's a product of its time, though. I think.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think it's a little dated.
I think the new ones play significantly better. Obviously,
than the older
ones, but there was something about the giant meathead carrying a machine gun that has a gun that has a chainsaw on the front of it. It doesn't have quite the same appeal. Maybe because I'm not a teenage boy anymore that loved shit like that, and now it's just different. I still again love the franchise, but it's a different time, and it is different games appeal to me now than what they did then. And so yeah, going forward, I think Gears will be fine, but it is kind of I can see why Rod wants to go into something else. He's been working on this franchise for 14 years now. It's probably time to
actually
over 14 years.
Yeah.
it released in 2006. So he's probably been working on it for every bit of 16 years or so. And so it's probably just time for something new, and can't blame the guy.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So the coronavirus is affecting a lot of things, and one of those things is the gaming industry. So the coronavirus has been causing issues with production in China, obviously. Nintendo has since reached out to apologize for the delays and lack of stock for their Switch, Joy-Cons, and Ring Fit Adventure. Nintendo also said that it is very likely that the Animal Crossing version of the Switch will be delayed, at least for the Japanese market, and probably all markets. This is only announced by Nintendo Japan, by the way. This may only be the beginning, though. Business Insider has been reporting on a potential delay for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X due to issues caused by the coronavirus. I think, it's so we get shit so quick nowadays. I mean, if you want, for example, this is like a little wireless puck charger, right, that I have here. If I lose this, or I don't know where it is, or I misplace it, or I don't have one to begin with, I can go on Amazon, buy it, and I get it at my house in about a day and a half.
Right.
But the problem is this shit had to be built, and it couldn't be built in the United States because our prices for labor and manufacturing just be too high to make sense of this. So it gets all manufactured and designed, built in China, and shipped over here. And all of our economy, all right, we live in a globalized economy where, I mean, most of our shit right now has come from China.
Yeah.
And it's just stunning when something like this happens, because they've had to close so many stores. And that's not good for us either, both from a supply chain and distribution network for these companies, but also like the stock market, like, Apple, Adidas, all these guys, all these businesses, all these game companies and different stuff have had to shut their studios down or shut their retail businesses down. And that's a lot of revenue missed out, because China also has a massive middle class right now that's emerging, and it's a big market for people to get money in. So this could be a pretty good economic downturn if this takes off and continues to just go rampant everywhere there.
Yeah, I think there's almost 100% of the manufacturing is done in China for these consoles. So when you have so many companies and manufacturers and things that are shutting down due to this coronavirus, I mean, it makes sense that you're going to see delays, and it's inevitable. I mean, you can't really do much about it. So that is kind of one of the downfalls from manufacturing all in one area, because there is no other way really around it. Other places aren't set up to do this. I mean, these are kind of one of the things where it's predominantly manufactured in like a few locations, and these are the only places that are set up to do it. So when something like this does come up, it's going to bring pretty much a halt to it, or at least slow it down significantly. And when the coronavirus kind of first started cropping up, I didn't really even think about how that would affect gaming as a whole. I mean, I was more so thinking of it like, hey, this is not great. This is not ideal by any means. And kind of just monitoring it and seeing how it's being handled and what they can do to eradicate it, essentially, or at least slow it down. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing the ripples even go into gaming, which are, I mean, it seems like it's so far away from it, but it's clearly not. Yeah, it's I don't know.
One of the things I guess where streaming would assist in this not having to be a thing. I mean, minus of course the studio creating the content, because we said what the Outer Worlds is delayed or something crazy.
The
like
Outer
that.
Worlds, the port for the Nintendo Switch has been delayed as well, because that company is also based in China. So I mean, the workforce over there is obviously suffering pretty bad from this. And in the chat, we're getting a bunch of questions here. One of them is, how far do we think it will spread? And as far as that, I mean, supposedly you were saying they have a what's the word I want to think, like not a vaccine, but a cure kind of for this. So it essentially, hopefully it doesn't spread very far. I'm not a medical expert by any means, but they also have to produce the what do I want to call it? An antidote, essentially.
Yeah,
Something like
serum,
that.
vaccine, serum,
Right.
combatant, or something like that
I guess
against
I don't
it.
know
Yeah.
if it's a full on vaccine or not, or whatever exactly it
Well,
is. But
they
yeah.
basically, I mean, I guess they don't really know if it's fully going to work, but from what I've seen, they have some sort of traction. They need to continue doing some more research over the course of, I believe, January, and then they have then they've got the testing period, and then they've got some trial periods on top of that as well.
And then they have to produce it and
Yeah.
distribute it.
Well, and also that's just for China, right? So then it has to come to the United States if it's something that's viable to use for it. I mean, here's the thing: in that we did before the podcast, we did kind of I found this map. If you just like Google John Hopkins University coronavirus map, it's kind of fascinating, but it's tons of little data points, huge data, dude, and it shows each day. The total confirmed cases with China, and then versus rest of the world or other locations, and it's just absolutely insane how quickly and widespread this is passing. I mean, the quick numbers on this is there's 31,000 total confirmed cases, 638 deaths, 1,500 recoveries so far. So, I mean, and there's a lot of like bullshit stuff where people are like, hey, the flu kills more people. It's like true, but the flu doesn't shut down a massive economy.
Right.
It's
not exactly apples to apples here.
Yeah. Like, yes, people get sick. Oh, it looks like someone just died. Jesus. The death thing went up. Good God.
That's morbid.
Anyways, like the flu comparison to this is just absurd. And it'd be interesting to see how quick it goes. I mean, how far do you think it'll spread geographically, as the person asked in the chat? I mean, I think it's going to hit a lot of the Pacific coast of the United States and spread pretty quick. I mean, San Francisco has an immense amount of Chinese population because the talent that comes over for the tech industry in Silicon Valley. Seattle has a lot as well. Vancouver, Canada has a lot as well. I think you'll also see it as well as a little bit on the East Coast, not as bad though. But I think the West Coast is going to get hit pretty hard with something like this.
Yeah, and with it being
be interesting,
with it being a virus, viral diseases spread so easily, and so it is one of those things that I mean, I don't know if you remember the game Plague Inc. I used to play it on my phone and stuff, but it was very much one of those things. Like if you started that game's all designed around which seems really morbid talking about it compared to an actual virus that is an issue, but essentially you're starting a disease, and your whole goal for this is to infect everyone.
Yeah.
So once it hits a major trade point or a major city, a hub of sorts, it spreads very quickly and
for sure.
And it goes all over. And obviously they're doing things to try to prevent that, but at a certain point, I mean, you can only do so much without completely shutting everything down.
Oh yeah.
And so it is, I mean, it started in China. Well, we have some cases here in the US and in other places. So obviously it is spreading, and then how much you can quarantine it after that to keep it from spreading further. It's kind of a toss up, because some people, I mean, you can carry it for a little bit before you even see symptoms of it.
You might not even know. Right. 2 weeks.
And so now you've interacted with how many different people over that time. And so, I mean, it's just, it has the potential to spread quickly and like wildfire, essentially. But I mean, they are taking action to try to prevent that.
Yeah. And I was most stunned too. I mean, I was shocked on just how quickly it spreads, and the graph, the chart's insane. But I was on a plane like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and man, I mean, sure, it's a domestic flight, and I'm sure it just goes like San Antonio back and forth from Detroit to San Antonio, but it's like, good God, like, I mean, do you really want to be in a metal tube in the sky with recirculating constant air, coughing on it, whatnot? It's not great. little spooked by it. Honestly, it's not the best situation to be in. But I don't know. We'll see. That there's another question is: do you think it will make it to all countries? I don't think it'll make it to all countries. I think there's just some climates of certain countries to where I would think it probably wouldn't be able to survive. Like tundra-based countries, as well as perhaps really hot desert climates. I don't think I mean, it's human to human transfer though. So I mean, a virus uses the climate of the human or the being that's in. So I don't know, maybe it could. I think that if someone's in like Antarctica, I don't know if it's really gonna spread. Possibly, I don't even know at this point if it gets cold enough. I mean, would that help? I mean, I'm sure maybe a polar vortex would greatly help us. Yeah. And maybe it would, would go on to it. But yeah, we're not, we're not doctors by any means.
We specialize in video games, but here we are just trying to talk like we know what we're doing.
Yeah. The point is, it's pretty insane and pretty nuts as to what industries get messed up from something like this. I mean, this started with snakes having some sort of, weird infection and viral thing. Yeah, never trust snakes, baby.
Can't trust anything that doesn't have limbs.
Yeah, at a market in the middle of Wuhan, China. Just think about that for a second. Something happened to where a snake got something. That snake shared it with the other snakes. Someone ate a friggin' snake. God knows why, but someone ate a snake, and then they handled the snake also, and they got it, and now it's a plague.
Yeah,
it's a little mini start of a plague. So I mean, it's just crazy as humans, like what we can't deal with, and like how fragile we are. I mean, what do we do, right? It's pretty nuts. Anyways, guys, we will be wrapping the show up on this note. Remember, not doctors.
Not a doctor.
Any medical information you heard on the show, don't take it serious or use it in any way, because not doctors. I'm gonna cover our butts for legal purposes. Guys, with that, if you want to follow us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Diggity Podcast. You get to get access to different shows. I think we're recording one next week to go up. Is that correct?
Yeah, our Patreon episode, the first one for the month of February, will go up next week sometime. So that's exciting.
Yeah, the first one after doing the preview, that should be good. Also, get into our private Discord as well with the different tiers there on Patreon. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Diggity Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, or let people know by they can search Diggity Gaming or Diggity, Diggity. You can find me on Xbox One. My gamer tag is Maple Jeff.
And mine is Luscious Brody. And you can also find me on PlayStation 4 at Wolverine's Cousin.
Gets me every time. Guys, leave us a review. It helps us out a ton, whether or not it is a comment on one of our YouTube videos or a full-on iTunes review or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts review. Just two things. One, when you leave a review, it gets us more noticed on the platform. So thank you to those who have left reviews. And two, one of the most important parts of it, we can figure out what you like and what you might not have liked to make the content better each and every single week. And until next time, guys, we will see you for the Wednesday show. See ya.